You are listening to Empower Mind Talk, navigating mental health, strength, and belonging. And let me tell you something, this is a real soul talk. I am your host, Maureen, a life and purpose coach, mental health advocate, agile coach, author, and a fellow traveler on this winding path of healing, identity, and homecoming. Racism in the mind, what repeated harms does to our inner world. Welcome back, dear souls, to Empower Mind Talk. This is a place where harm gets named clearly, not exaggerated, not brushed off, not explained away. A place where your reactions aren't treated like a problem to fix, but a signal, or like a signal that something real has happened. Here, your pain has context. Here, you belong. So, let's begin. Today, I want to talk about racism in a way we don't hear often enough. We usually talk about it as a behavior, a remark, a decision, a policy, a look, an action. And yes, it is all those things, but there is another part that doesn't show up in headlines or workplace trainings because it's quieter and harder to measure. What does racism become once it gets inside the human mind? Because racism doesn't only happen to you out there in the world, it also happens within you, in your inner world, and over time. Not because you choose it, not because you accept it, but because the mind and the body adapt to repeated harm the way they are designed to do. And you know what? It rarely announces itself like a siren or with a siren. It comes through small moments that still land like a punch. The gazes that hold a judgment you can't name out loud. The tone that turns colder the moment you speak. The exclusion that's never explained. So you are left playing the scene alone again and again. The opportunity that disappears and no one can quite tell you why. The comments that are just a joke, but somehow the joke always points in the same direction, and that is your direction. When those moments repeat, something begins to happen internally. Your mind starts carrying questions it was never meant to carry. At the beginning, most people try to make sense of it. You might tell yourself, maybe I read it wrong. Maybe it wasn't about me. Maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe I need to work twice as much so no one can doubt me. Maybe if I am perfect, I'll be safe. So you try to be more perfect, which actually doesn't make sense because no one is perfect. So actually you'll never be perfect and never will be safe. It's not you to be perfect. It's the system behind that is not perfect. That's not denial. That's an intelligent mind trying to preserve hope and keep the world livable. But then a pattern forms, and patterns teach the brain faster than any reassurance can. Over time, the lessons shift from maybe I misunderstood to something heavier. I am not safe to relax here. So the nervous system does what nervous systems do. It adapts. It says ready, it watches, it braces, it anticipates. This isn't weakness. This isn't you being dramatic. This is survival equipment switching on and refusing to shut off. The brain starts scanning for threats before you even realize you are scanning. The body tightens as if impact is coming. The heart learns to protect itself by holding back, by not offering too much, not trusting too fast, not hoping too loudly. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your world can start to feel less like a place you have or you live in, and more like a place you get through, a place you endure instead of inhabit. This is the psychological cost that so many people never name out loud, even though it shows up everywhere in the body and in the mind. Repeated exposure to racism can create injuries that don't look dramatic from the outside. They don't always come with a single obvious event. They accumulate, and because they accumulate, people often miss them, especially the people who aren't living inside them. And over time, you might notice hypervigilance, always reading the room, always calculating what's safe to say, always scanning faces, tones, postures, subtexts. You might feel anxiety that doesn't seem to have one clear trigger, because the trigger is the climate. It's the uncertainty. It's never knowing when the next moment will come. You might feel emotional numbness, not because you don't care, but because feeling everything all the time becomes exhausting. Numbness can be the mind's way to conceiving resources or conserving resources when the environment keeps demanding too much. You might carry self-doubt even when you are capable and qualified. You can have achievements, receipts, proof, and still hear that quiet inner question: did I earn these? Or will someone decide I don't belong here? And you might find yourself endlessly looping on the most painful question: is it me? Let's be clear. The pain is not imagined. This is the psychology of survival. This is what happens when the body experiences something as a threat repeatedly, whether that threat is blunted or subtle. And still, so many people get told things that deepen the wound. You are too sensitive. Don't make everything about race. Just ignore it. Let it go. Don't be too negative. But here's the truth. The mind cannot simply ignore what the body registers as danger. If your nervous system has learned that certain spaces come with risk, it doesn't respond to someone else's comfort. It responds to your lived experiences. And that brings us to one of the hardest realities. Racism can create a silent war inside you because often there is a split. One part of you knows exactly what's happening. You see it, you feel it, you recognize the pattern. And another part of you is trying desperately to stay functional, to keep your job, to get through the day, to avoid becoming a target, to protect your family, to keep the peace, to not be punished for naming what you are living. So you are standing in an impossible place. You want to speak, but you are calculating consequences. You want to rest, but rest requires safety, and safety doesn't feel guaranteed. You want to trust, but you have learned that trust can be expensive. And what ends? You do what so many of us or so many people do. You hold it together. You smile in rooms where your stomach is tight. You perform calm while your heart is hammering. You swallow words to avoid backlash. You rehearse your tone so you won't be labeled. You make yourself smaller in moments where you should have been able to simply be human. And then people praise your resilience. They tell you you are strong, which is not wrong. And of course, you gain resilience. They say you handle things well, but they don't ask what it's costing you. And this matters deeply when it comes to mental health because prolonged racial stress keeps the nervous system locked in survival mode. And survival mode is not living. Mode can drain joy even when good things are happening. It can steal ease so you never fully off duty. It can fragment identity so you are constantly shifting yourself to fit the room. It can make you question your own perceptions so you start editing your reality to make others comfortable. If your mental health has been impacted by racism, that is not a character flaw. It isn't a personal failure. It is a logical human response to an environment that keeps demanding self-protection. You are not broken. You are responding to pressure no human being was meant to carry alone. And now we arrive at the truth that deserves space because so many people have been forced to heal in the wrong direction. Healing from racism is not about becoming tougher. It's about becoming safer because safety is what lets the mind exhale. Safety is what allows the body to stop bracing. Safety is what makes room for joy to return without being interrupted by fear. Safety is what allows the heart to open again without immediately preparing for harm. And safety is not something you should have to pretend into existence. It is not a fantasy exercise. It's something you deserve. And it's something communities, workspaces, or places, schools, and systems have a responsibility to create. If this is landing heavy right now, let's slow down together for a moment. And like I always say, only when you are in a position to do so. If you're driving or doing any work that can't allow you to slow down or take a short break, please skip this part for later. Bring your attention to your feet. Feel them on the ground. Notice the weight of your body being held. Take a slower breath than you were taking a minute ago. And remind yourself quietly and clearly, my reactions are reasonable. My pain has context. I am not weak for being affected because you are human. We are all human beings, and humans are shaped by the environments they live in. Before we close, I want to offer 3 grounding truths you can turn to, especially on the days when you start questioning yourself again. Number 1, racism isn't just a mindset issue. It is a mental issue. If your sleep, your mood, your confidence, your ability to relax, or your sense of safety has been affected, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means something happened to you repeatedly. Number 2, Your awareness is a sign of intelligence, not obsession. You noticed because it mattered. You picked up on patterns because your mind is doing exactly what minds do, learning from experience. Number 3, healing doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean minimizing or pretending it didn't leave marks. Healing means being held differently. It means having support instead of silence. It means having spaces where you can be believed without having to prove your pain. And if you want an affirmation to carry with you today, let it be this. Say it gently, even if you don't fully feel it yet. I release the belief that I must endure harm to belong. My mind deserves peace. My body deserves safety. As we close, if today's reflections finally put language to something you've been carrying quietly, consider sharing this episode with someone who might be waiting to feel understood. Subscribe to Empower Mind Talk, and if this space has felt like a refuge, leave a review so it can reach the people who need it. And remember, you are never too sensitive. You are responding to repeated harm with intelligence and courage. Until next time, may you feel grounded, may you feel protected, and may you remember again and again, your mind deserves rest.